All right, good morning to you. It is December the 21st here as we get closer and closer to Christmas. A whole lot to talk about here in today's edition of the video. You're looking there at a live image as I cut the video during the 7 o'clock hour of Boone. That's King Street down below. It is cold there in Boone. Temperature, again, as I cut the video, 20 degrees. It was 19 earlier in the hour. That's a pretty shot of Charlotte from our camera over at the airport, Charlotte Douglas International. It is a pretty chilly morning here across the Piedmont. A lot of 30s on the board, sitting at 37 in Charlotte. A lot of us in the 30s in the Charlotte viewing area, some 20s up toward I-40, 26 in Hickory, 28 in Statesville and Salisbury as we begin the day around the region. 20s and 30s, pretty widespread, exception Cape Hatteras there at 44. Now look at these current temperatures. It is 27 degrees below zero there in Harve, Montana. I just checked. There is a 55 below zero wind chill right now in Cutbank, Montana. That is brutal, and that is the Arctic air that's going to be heading our way and really engulfing the eastern part of the country and the central part of the country over the next 48 hours. Now, while you were sleeping, a few snowflakes and sleet pellets over in Anson and Richmond County, and even as I cut the video right now, some snow and sleet in parts of the Sandhills. Just a novelty, not a huge deal, but a lot of folks, as expected, as I mentioned yesterday, in the Charlotte area and southern North Carolina as a whole, did indeed see a few sleet pellets and snowflakes yesterday. Off to the south, notice the rain beginning to kind of break back out in parts of Georgia. That's the moisture beginning to return with tonight's storm system, and that moisture will be moving back in later on. I think we're dry today, but certainly as we get on into tonight, we see that rain spread in. Now, it will be rain for the Piedmont. In the mountains and some adjacent foothill spots, temperatures will drop below freezing, and that will allow for a period of freezing rain. I'll show you that in a second. There's your highs today, 40s. Notice everybody in the Charlotte viewing area above freezing for low temperatures tonight. So again, early tomorrow, the mountains, some foothill spots with a period of some freezing rain before everybody warms above freezing. So this is the ice accumulation, and I put the European model as the backdrop here. I think the heaviest or the most significant icing accumulation may be more likely in the high country, Ashe, Avery, Watauga County, but anybody in the mountains could see a period of freezing rain, and again, some foothill spots too. So winter weather advisories up for the mountains and some foothill spots. 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation, maybe more. We're talking mainly elevated locations, elevated surfaces. All right. But having said that, I do think there could be some slick spots temporarily on some area roads in the mountains tomorrow morning, so please be aware of that. But again, everybody gets above freezing by probably mid-morning. Now, Friday, that's the day the Arctic air just pours in. There'll be a period of snow in the mountains. And as that Arctic front works through the Piedmont, you can see futurecasts here trying to indicate rain showers maybe ending as a little burst of some snow showers on the back edge as the cold air undercuts the precipitation. Again, that would be more in the novelty category. The big deal is the cold. Now, again, the mountains are going to pick up some snow, especially in the favored northwest-facing zone, 3 to 6 inches plus, a good possibility. Now, these are highs Friday. These will occur very early in the day, maybe before dawn, with temperatures dropping all day. And then look where we are by Christmas Eve morning. 9, Hickory. 12, Charlotte. 12, Gastonia. 11 in Albemarle. Look at these lows up in the mountains. And I'm going to show you the more detailed modeling in a second, but 2 below zero in Boone for a low temperature Saturday morning. 3 in Asheville. There's your highs Christmas Eve, struggling to even make it to freezing in the Charlotte metro, and it's going to be another really cold night Saturday night into Christmas morning as Santa makes his trip across the region. Really cold once again, and still very chilly for Christmas Day with highs only in the 30s across the area. So this is a very significant shot of Arctic air. Easily the coldest Christmas Eve in at least 30 years around here. You need to protect those pipes. This is not a weekend at all to leave pets outside. Make sure they are inside. Check on anyone you might know that does not have access to adequate heating. This is the dangerous type of cold settling in for this weekend. All right, so here's the look at some of the more detailed modeling. This is the 500 millibar vorticity chart on the European model from overnight last night. So let's go forward in time. Here comes the big trough swinging into the eastern part of the country for the Easter weekend. I'm still watching this little trailing piece of energy behind it as we get towards Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Again, it's out of phase, and this does not really generate any real significant precipitation. It would only take some pretty subtle adjustments here for this to become a more significant storm system later in the, say, Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe next week. We'll see. Again, I'm not real optimistic that those adjustments are going to take place, but something to kind of keep in the back of our minds. But let's talk about what's happening between now and then. So this is the latest run, the 06Z run of the European model. There's your best chance for that freezing rain accumulation there in the mountains and some adjacent foothill spots. And then there we go. There's your Arctic cold front moving through. So just, again, on this particular model, the European model, there are the freezing rain totals right there. And then the snow that falls as we get into Friday morning looks like that on that particular model. And again, it's a really similar scenario here on the GFS. There's the precipitation working in tonight, and then there's your Arctic front moving through. Snow totals on the GFS look like that. A little bit heavier in some of the high country in the northwest facing slopes, and there's your freezing rain potential. Most aggressive with the freezing rain, as is often the case, is the Canadian. So there's the global Canadian model, and I'll show you the regional, which oftentimes does really well in these types of scenarios, although sometimes it's a bit too cold. But there's what it's indicating. It's certainly the heaviest with the footprint of ice, and then there's your snow working through Friday morning in the mountains. So regarding the ice potential, this is what this particular model is printing out. I think this is overdone, but that's kind of outlining the zone where there could be icing on the elevated surfaces, and then here's your snow totals off of the regional Canadian model. Now, I'm going to show you temperatures. All right, and what I want to do is I'm going to show you basically the wind chill values. So we'll switch over here to the apparent temperatures. Excuse me. Let's go, first of all, Friday. Look at the mountain wind chills, 15, 20 below zero through the day Friday. As we get into daybreak and overnight, Friday night into Christmas Eve morning, we're talking still wind chills 20 to 25 below zero in the mountains. Taken verbatim, we have a 1 degree wind chill in Charlotte around daybreak on Christmas Eve. And it's going to be really cold again with those wind chills as we head into the nights, Christmas Eve nights, even into Christmas morning. So that's a big deal. Certainly the cold air is going to be very, very significant. By the way, just to show you down the road, I think a nice warm-up on the way. I'll show you real quick the longer-term European ensemble. Let me flip it back here. There you go. So I do think a nice warm-up. New Year's weekend looks much, much milder. And then I still think as we get a little bit deeper into January, we'll see temperatures trend back colder again. But New Year's weekend, a far different story than what we have for Christmas weekend. All right, that is it for the latest edition of the video. Everybody stay safe, stay warm, and God bless.